in the community. Because oftentimes I struggle to find a subject to relate to our times and our immediate concerns, or our concerns of value, that even if they're not immediate, if they've been long running and still demanding solutions, then we're constantly looking for ideas and perspectives to address the needs and to work towards the solutions to the problem. So I'm asking you, dear listening audience, to please keep that in mind, so as we could help each other to stay on course as it relates to the format of Balanced Matters. Now, it's been hard to ignore the devastation of life, unnecessary life lost by man's inhumanity to man, mistreatment of one another, particularly with violence and abuses of uses of weapons to commit acts of violence and unnecessary loss of life. That's something that I know it bothers us, but some of us are realizing that we seem to be responding in a way that the actions that we say are unacceptable behaviors are becoming so normalized that we don't do too much in addressing those problems. We just entertain the fact that they happen, the issues, the problems, the acts that disturb society just happen, and we register it, and then we move on. Some of us are saying it sounds as though it's becoming normalized. Unacceptable behavior is being responded to as being normalized. And in short, we're beginning to accept it as that's the way things are. Man's condition of suffering and hardship will not be changed until he addresses or changes what is bothering his own soul. Now, in addressing wanting to look at the attitude and wanting to be accountable and more responsible, there is a writing in religious guidance that says man's condition of suffering or hardship will not be changed until he or she addresses or changes what is bothering his or her own soul. I'm taking my time in saying that because oftentimes we very seldom give attention to how the soul is affecting the attitude of people. The soul is naturally driven towards or striving for excellence. It's driven and striving all the time towards excellence. The soul is known to be motivated by achievement. One of my mentors at one time gave a very simple reference to something. He said, look at when an individual does something like painting a room, for fulfilling a chore like doing the grounds around the house, mowing the lawn, cutting the hedges, cleaning up unnecessary clutter around the yard. And because it's so noticeable how clean and orderly and what they say, manicured the property appears to be, and the attention it gets when it's in that condition. The individual just sits back, the one who done it, sits back and just enjoys and has a good feeling of what the end result of his work, his efforts has been, or her efforts have been. It could be someone on the job site doing a project and struggle for 1 or 2 days, and finally has a colleague comes on the side and say, man, they ain't never seen that project, that formalized working within their system looking so good. And the individual who was responsible for that just lays back and feels so good to know that someone is admiring their work, their efforts. And they say it's so satisfying. It satisfies the soul to have recognition of achievement. And when we see an accomplishment after something was unacceptable or maybe wrong, has been corrected and made right and acceptable, then it ends up satisfying so many onlookers. The one who has been responsible for the act is pleasing to the soul. And they will tell you that. So the soul is naturally driven towards and is always striving for excellence. Why? Because it is motivated by achievement. The soul is motivated by achievement. I recall one of my good buddies, and I'll repeat this as often as I could when I want to make the point. He said to me one time, Cromwell, if a person don't know why they're getting up out of bed in the morning, they should stay in the bed. They should stay sleeping in the bed. If they don't have no reason why they're getting up in the morning, if they don't know why they are getting up in the morning, the beginning of the day, they should stay asleep. They should stay in the bed, because they're going to be useless if they don't know why they're going to be moving around after they get up. When I heard that from my friend, I said, look, I'm going to steal that one. That is something profound in its simplicity. So, motivation is tied to productivity, success. Talking about natural behavior. The baby is not satisfied to stay on the floor looking up on the fours, the knees and the hands, crawling on the floor, the little baby. It's not satisfied to stay on the floor. He looks up at his parents, and the older he gets, you see him trying hard to get off his fours to become upright like his adult parents or the people that's caring for him or her. The baby is not satisfied being in the arms of the parents forever. Staying in the arms of the adult, the caregiver, forever. Even the baby responds to what? A natural drive that's in the human spirit. The baby expresses a desire to be independent, to want to do for self. And by the time they get to a little 8 or 9 months, you could see them struggling to get those muscles active so they could hold him up and take a step. And when he finds out that he's stepping out on his own, he's so excited. Many of us that watch children, the young babies, when they go from creeping to walking, they're so surprised to know that they're no longer on the fours, the hands and the knees, and they no longer need to be held by the adult. And he walks off on his own. I tell you, you can see on their face the sign of achievement. And then all of a sudden, they become a terror in the house because now what they've been looking at from down on the ground, they can stand up and walk around and find every crack and cranny in the house now. Now they become a nuisance. And we tolerate watching that child fulfill their, what they say, inquisitiveness. They study all the things in the eyesight on their level, and they want to touch and pull and move and shake up and push down and see how everything works. That's the baby. Satisfied, not satisfied being in the arms of the parent forever. Why? Because the natural drive in the soul of that baby that came with his inherent natural instincts, his natural behavior that's clocked into his genes that he can't avoid as long as it's not been affected by anything that's going to hold him from expressing himself. The baby moves towards improvement all the time. The baby does that. He wants to end up being responsible for himself, doing for himself. Keep that in mind, dear listening audience. There is an understanding that suggests when you meet the needs of the individual, you are answering and supplying the needs of a nation. Now, take that in just a little bit. I'm going to slow down and repeat that again. There is an understanding by those who are aware and more knowledgeable, who suggest that when you meet the needs of the individual, you are also answering and supplying the needs of a nation. When the individual is fulfilling the objective that is created to fulfill, is going about their natural behavior and wanting to be constructive, responsible, productive, accountable. All those things that has them to accept responsibility. Multiply the individuals, and you end up having a nation of drivers, movers, and shakers. If we as a people do not have living conditions, businesses, business establishment, if we as a people do not have the educational success that influences respect from other people, we are coming up short as a people. I'm not talking about doing something to please other people. Keep in mind now what this is suggesting. That when we are influencing people because of the results that we have with a display of dignified living, conditions that gets the attention of anybody who understands reasonable living conditions, respectful living conditions, acceptable living conditions. When observers see us as a people with business establishment that reflects the needs of us as a people, like any other responsible nation of people, they go forward trying to find resources to establish institutions that will meet their needs. When observers see that coming from a nation of people, a group of people, one person, it garnishes respect, because there is no more accomplishment than to see someone standing up and fulfilling their obligations and being accountable and responsible and successful and acceptable, because it respects all involved, meaning their immediate circle and those outside who are affected because they're in the same surroundings. It's not an insult, or whatever condition we were in is not an insult, or it's not a threat to other people who share the same common space. When people feel comfortable knowing that they could work with their neighbors, their colleagues, their friends, they will sooner or later let you know how much they appreciate the existence and the relationship that comes along with a satisfying existence. We come from a people wanting strength and production. I'm going to repeat that. We come from a people wanting strength and production. We need to identify, recognize, and support leadership who are promoting aspirations and concerns necessary to achieve strength and production. I don't think I'll be doing a disservice if I repeat that, because I think it has a certain amount of value. We come from a people wanting strength and production. Look at our history. The historians have recognized that in a short time, the enslaved, the children of the enslaved have been freed. They have done marvelous things that is deserving of recognition and respect because of the thirst for achievement and self-satisfaction. We come from a people wanting strength and production. We need to identify, recognize, and support leadership who are promoting aspirations and concerns necessary to achieve strength and production. Our future requires from us to have strong people who can hold to their moral and hold to their good life. Our future requires from us to have strong people who can hold to their moral and good life and pass on what they have to their children. Because the children are the inheritors. To do that, we have to make sound investment in our future, in the future. It is expected of us that we be a people respected by others for our contribution to today's needs and tomorrow's needs. It is expected of us that we be a people respected by others for our contribution to today's needs and tomorrow's needs. We must understand the importance of building for this generation and the generations to come. We have to invest materially for improved education, strong schools, strong businesses. I recall one time I was out at a function at Salters Grammar School, the private school that's been around for a long time. That's been the envy of many because of the success stories that we know has come out of Salters Grammar School. I went around there, I read this list of people who have come out of that school and become leaders of the country, this big businessmen in the country, in our island home. The school has boasted, and rightly so, that their school has turned out leaders of the country, movers and shakers in business in the country. Now we know what the history of Bermuda has been, the oligarchs and the unequalness in the systems. We know that. And all the more reason why they had to have a school like Salters Grammar, because they knew what they needed to produce as students to look after their inheritance. And they was not going to leave it to the public system to develop these type of people, because they had to protect their investment and their interests. So Salter's Grammar School, the private school, was initiated with the self-interest of the oligarchs. It is expected of us that we be a people respected by others for our contribution to today's needs and tomorrow's needs. We must understand the importance of building for this generation and generations to come. We have to invest materially for improved education, strong schools, strong businesses. The Creator is in all that which is good. When I first heard that statement, the Creator, God, is in all that is good. The evil is produced by man's own hands. The Creator wants the best for us. So he gave us a nature that will strive for the best. God would be unfair if he wanted us to achieve something but didn't give us the tools to achieve it. So he gave us a nature that doesn't have to be invited to strive towards excellence. It has a proclivity. It's motivated. It has a drive automatically inherent that the human being cannot change unless they alter their own reason and logic and reject good guidance. That's the only time human being falters, when he rejects good guidance. If he was to answer and follow the natural inclinations of the human spirit, oh boy, he'll cry out to God. He'll never leave God alone. We are to respect, utilize wisely every asset that the Creator makes available to us. And if you or we are believers, we are obligated to make good use of our time. If we are believers, those of us who say we believe and take direction from God, we are obligated to make good use of our time, to spend our money wisely, to utilize our knowledge in a productive and constructive way, not a harmful way, not to be what they say, stingy and hold knowledge to your chest. We're supposed to share knowledge. Use time wisely, spend money wisely, use the knowledge wisely. Spend them wisely. Spend time, money, and knowledge wisely. Failure to do so, we suffer. Failure to use our time wisely, failure to manage money wisely, failure to utilize knowledge in a wise way causes suffering to the individual, and in turn, when it's multiplied, the nation suffers. I conclude my monologue with these 4 lines. Resources of the heart and the brain. Resources of the heart deal with sensitivities and emotion. Resources of the brain deals with the intellectual development. Reasoning and logical thinking, processing. A resource is any physical, material, asset or capability. Now, keep in mind, resources of the heart and resources of the brain. One dealing with emotion and sensitivities, the other one dealing with intellect, reason, and logic. A resource is any physical, material, asset, or capability, such as money, personnel, meaning the individual, raw materials, or information that can be used to support life, achieve goals, or enhance productivity. In conclusion, resources can be natural, human, or financial. Resources can be natural, human, or financial, and they are typically classified by their ability to provide value or help to solve problems. That's the conclusion of my monologue tonight. If we're looking to at least consider the different things that we can think about assessing, then looking at prioritizing, and then responding to that which we assess about this state of mind or the attitude or the behavior of the individual. Those types of things that's supposed to happen naturally with the individual is associated with the things that we mentioned here tonight. So when we think about the hurt and the harm that is being identified as repetitious and unacceptable, we also see something here that's worth being, that we need to be reminded of, which is maybe if we reflected on what should be our natural behavior and then compare it with what we see today in our behavior that lends us with the results and the outcomes that we are clearly complaining about on a regular basis. We don't need to look too far if we want to get on track, get back on track, and clear up how we should be thinking. First of all, what we should be desirous of, because some of us want to be satisfied with the wrong things. We have feelings that we want to be satisfied, feelings of the heart, but it's not good for us. We're not using our mental capacity to address the needs of today and the needs for tomorrow. The number is 297-1027. We're talking Balance Matters. Dear listening audience, I haven't said anything that's so beyond your rationale or logic. I categorize this as a common sense approach to a natural expectation, which is to address what would normally be a natural behavior that's not so natural anymore. To get up out of bed and want to be useful, we have more and more people not so motivated to fulfill the needs that we have. Hence, we have replacements from outside that's being brought into the island to fill the gaps, fill the places that are not being filled by our populace, our homegrown populace. The number is 297-1027 for Talking Balance Matters. I reflected here lately on two particular conversations I was listening to. I wasn't even personally involved. I questioned later what I heard, but I wasn't personally involved in initiating the conversation. One had to do with a question of why is it that locals who have investments in rental units are not so quick to rent to the local people. And one of the comments was that those people that have nice quality rental units would rather have their rental units put out for tourists as Airbnbs for a portion of the year, even if they're not got it fully utilized all year. They can make enough money that will cover what they would get if they were to rent by the month to a local group or a local family. The question was, how is it that people are making it difficult for locals to get housing? Because it's not a housing shortage. It's a shortage of people putting their houses up for rent to locals. They have them. Some of them, they'll rather be kept vacant, or, because I remember one guy told me right to my face, man, that he would rather have his place vacant than to rent to a local who's looking for a place, because he was tired of the experiences that he had with rentals by locals. Now, I'm not saying that it's the right attitude to have. I'm only telling you that's what is being said. The other thing I heard while I was in the presence of this individual who owned a property, he said he had this landscaper doing some work for him, and he addressed the landscaper on a few things that he was dissatisfied with, and asked him to address those complaints. And he said he done it on more than one occasion. I'm not saying that it was the same thing that he done it for, but he had to repeat, address more than one issue that was dissatisfying him as it relates to service for money. So he said he got disappointed at the responses. So he approached one of his family members who has a property and inquired who does their property. So he used the same service person that his family member had. And he said, Cromwell. When the truck rolled up, all the people that was there on the property was Filipinos. He said, I want you to look over the corner on my property there and look at where the banana trees are. He says, tell me what you think of that space that I recognize to be spick and span around those banana trees. He said, the whole time he's had his former landscaper, he said that person never cleaned around those banana trees. He said, I didn't even tell those guys to do the banana trees, to clean the banana trees, because they had never been cleaned before around the banana trees and had never been done before. He said, man, when I realized how spick and span those guys cleaned up that corner, he said, I couldn't get over that I didn't even acknowledge that that's what I expected to be done. He said, but look who done more than what I asked him for. And I'm not complaining about the price either, he says. Now, he didn't say the Filipino owned the business. He said the Filipino was doing the work. He said the company that I had, that I was going with, let me down. My own people let me down. So I registered those two conversations this week. And I know that that's not a conversation that's separate and alone. I know many of us have stories to tell as to how we are recognizing service or lack of service these days. Service that we will be satisfied with. We're not getting what we know we deserve to get. Service for pay. One guy that I use as a contractor, he told me this story. I can't get over it every time I think about it. He says, Cromwell, I got to a point where I got tired of firing staff because every time I got another one, they acted even worse. I said, you got to be joking. He said, I'm not joking, man. It got to a point where I was dissatisfied with the outcome, the work. But I was reluctant to get rid of them so quickly because I was turning over staff so fast that I just didn't want to do it so quickly anymore because the next person ended up being worse than the one I got rid of. He said, I'm not joking. To the point where he said, he even suggested to me that he was going to give up his business because he was getting sick and tired of having to try to manage that problem. Now, I'm thankful that he didn't give it up. He sought some assistance and he finally found a remedy and a solution to his problem. He didn't get 1,000%, 100% of his correction, the correction of his problem, but he got enough, whereas he wasn't complaining as much as he was before. The number is 297-1027. We're talking Balance Matters. When we raise the motivation of an individual and you end up having natural drive from the one who's expected to be doing the expected job they are intended to do. When the individual accepts that they should never be reluctant in wanting to fulfill their obligations and utilizing the resources that's available to them to improve on the way they are managing themselves. The number is 297-1027. We're talking balance matters. Maybe what I'll do is play a little bit of music here and see if you will consider wanting to make a contribution after the musical interlude. It seems as though my request might have created a lull and a hesitation in your minds. I would like for you to consider after the music to call us and participate in the tell them that it's human nature The number is 297-1027. We're talking Balance Matters this evening. Our future requires from us to have strong people who can hold to their moral life, strong people that can hold to their good life. In that environment, they will pass on what they have to their children. The children won't just inherit finance, they'll inherit an education of good human modeling, good human behavior. The inheritors will carry on in the future. Why? Because the ones that the children have been watching recognize the investment of their family members, the sound investment of good behavior, strong management of themselves personally, strong management of their time and money, strong management of their knowledge. The number is 297-1027. We're talking Balance Matters tonight. God is good, and God is in all that is good. Caller, you're on Balance Matters.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm thankful, my dear.
That's good. That's good. I was sitting back listening. I was waiting for people to call. I didn't want to, always keep calling. But I was listening to what you had to say. And you were talking about how the Philippine was doing the job, right?
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. It's a positive thing. However, I found that there's a lot of Bermudans that, even back in the day and even recent, was applying for a lot of these jobs. And they kept reapplying for these jobs, and they didn't get them. I don't know what they did to resumes, but when I go in there, and I'm not necessarily begging for anything, but when I go in there sometimes, they tell me they take these resumes or CVs you bring in, and they discard of them right away. So nobody knows whether they're coming in as Bermudians or not. And so these guys decided, well, they're going to keep on getting rejected, and nobody knows where these CVs are going to, so they went and done some entrepreneuring, which makes sense. So I'm very pleased and proud to see them doing their businesses around the island. A lot of them wanted to be electricians, but I think they had a little fear. Some people I heard had a little fear. They was afraid of the electricity itself. But however, they moved on to other things like plumbing and construction and air conditioning and stuff like that. So they're actually opening up their business around the island. So if you want them, you have to kind of go to the companies to see if you can get them, because a lot of them don't work on the side, and then a few do, but they're really tied to the jobs that they're committed to. So I'm proud of that achievement, you know what I mean?
Well, I hear what you're saying, and I won't deny what you're saying. In light of what the point I was making is separate and different from what you're saying. I agree with you bringing the point of those who go on and end up working and fulfilling a role of work. What I was addressing was that the employer was getting workers and they weren't up to scratch in doing what they were expected to do, or they was not applying for the job. Now, I'm not about to say whatever the employer said had to be a deceitful response in order to satisfy a person like myself. I'm not going to go that route, because I have people that has come to me personally and gave me their experience as employers. And believe me, sometimes my hair curls.
Right.
And I know it's people that I have a lot of respect for, and I know they're not giving me a 649. I know that. So my point is, pardon me?
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, I'm simply saying is that side of it. I'm not saying that the people that you're talking about is not getting a good shake. If they end up somewhere else, then obviously they are of value because they did end up somewhere else.
Right.
But I'm talking about those who did not live up to the conditions and the requirements that was expected of them to live up to. That's the side. And I find that most times I talk about this subject, I have very little agreement and support as to this being a fact. Because a lot of times we seem to feel as though we are talking down on our own and seeing them as failures. Well, we have to be honest about what is the attitude of the worker today and what is the truth of the matter when it comes around to acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Not enough. I approached firsthand a guy that has big business. I'm not talking about no small business, big business. And he said, you know, Crum, I just wished it was more motivated and dedicated people like us that will come on my job site and fulfill the role that I'm expecting them to fulfill. I'm here to tell you that over the years, it's going down, down, down because of the attitude of the worker. Now, I know for a fact some of that is true. But
and you would be right.
Many of us...
I'm not going to lie to you, I have had that experience. I've hired people to do my house, and I found that after doing it the first time, I had to call them back. And then after I called them back, it still weren't done. So I called them back again. It still weren't done, so I had to hire other people.
Yes.
And people I knew, I had to search even to friends or out in the community, and I had to find somebody that would really fix what I needed done. So I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's true. But we have two sides of it.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree 100%. Yeah. Now, what I'm simply saying is we cannot ignore what is different and what has changed from what used to be. Now, there may be some very valid reasons for why we have these changes, but the changes needs to be identified, and we need to say sincerely and openly if we are satisfied or not satisfied with the present set of circumstances.
And I'll tell you one thing, and I really didn't want to say it on the air. It is an issue, though. There's some people, it is an issue. Not with everybody, but there are a few.
Yeah.
They seem to tarnish this construction business and make it really bad for the rest of them. Ask some of the women around the island, and they'll tell you some horrible stories. And that's a fact.
Yes.
You know, and I didn't want to speak on that too much because when you speak on things and touch things, they listen to the radio. You could kind of get yourself in a little bit of sticky situation.
No, with us talking about this, let me put while you're still on the air, because I want to give you recognition on this one. See, I recall going to this clothing store to get something for one of my family members. And it was in a store where females were the ones that had the knowledge of what I wanted, and I needed to get service not with me going picking out. So I needed to have information for them to give me so as I could make a decision on what would be best. I needed information about the article. So I went to the counter where it was two women. There was two people there. They were both at the cash register. I don't know who was supposed to be at the cash register steadily, but they were both at the cash register. When I went and asked them the question that I asked them, they just pointed to me and told me, go down the back and do so and so and so and so.
And that happens.
I just shook my head, man.
Yeah, that happens.
I said, man, one of these girls has the freedom to show me service by taking me down there, educating me, and maybe they'll get a sale. I walked away shaking my head, man. I said, man, what's so important that they would prefer to have continued their conversation rather than giving me undivided attention?
Yeah,
I couldn't believe how the person responded by giving me direction to go down the back of the store and try to remember what she said without her giving me any extras to convince me that I should buy the item. And I said, man,
got to improve.
Look, man, look, when I left there and went to the place that I was supposed to respond back to, the person couldn't believe, who happens to be a female, they couldn't believe what I told them.
Yeah.
Based on what the service person gave me as a response, they couldn't believe what I told them, as though it sounded like a story I made up. But I just shook my head, and I just left there by saying, you know, the owners would not be so happy right now, you know.
Right.
Because I came in there hoping to leave with something. And I said, if they're going to respond to me like this, I'm not going to push the issue. I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah. That's all good. You go somewhere else. You get customer service somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it has to improve. It has customer service must improve in Bermuda. And I noticed that it's not just one set. It's like male and female. I'm not that you're looking for this answer. You're looking for it's with male and female.
And I'm not looking at the gender right now. I'm just looking at the service. It's just that it happened to be.
I'm telling you that it comes from both sides. Because I'm walking this they just look at me.
Yes.
You're
talking about service to. Oh yes, you're talking about service to male and female. Oh, I see your point. I see what you're saying. Thank you very much. So the lines are lightening up.
Okay, well, you have a nice evening.
And I thank you kindly for your contribution, you hear?
Okay. Right,
and the rest of a great evening.
All right.
Calling on Balance Matters.
Brother Shankar, how you doing?
I'm thankful, man.
I hear you. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Something's mixed in the juice, Mrs. Conwell. For some reason, service standards has been dropped along the line.
Yes.
And I'm still looking for the kink in the line because, man, I'm talking about man. Mr. Conwell.
Yes.
I'm a person that was brought up in the hotel industry.
Yes.
My first job was a busboy.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
I could remember being a busboy and still being in high school.
Okay.
I remember walking in the dining room for the first time doing breakfast. Finding out who my waiter was. We worked well together. The waiter put me through my paces. He says, okay, cool. Now this is what you're going to do tonight. You are going to come with your shoes shined, and your pants is going to have a seam in them. Your hands are going to be clean, and don't worry about the uniform that's on the hotel. He did not tell me that they have inspections in dining rooms for staff.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that upbringing to where I am now, I have a small maintenance company. If I get extra work, I take on extra people.
Yes.
And I normally rather take on some of the younger guys and bring them along in this simple trade.
Yes.
We're not building houses. We're not going to build no mansions or nothing. Simple changing windows, changing doors, painting. You know what I mean? That
Yes.
type of work.
Yes.
But Mr. Secure, when you show up with your pants around your waist, hey, man, pull your pants up.
Yes.
But why do I got to pull my pants up? I'm painting. But that comment just irks me. And so I say to him, all right, you know why you're pulling your pants up? He says, I don't see why. The paintbrush ain't going to tell me to pull my pants up.
Man.
I said, okay. All right, I tell you how we're going to work this out today. He says, how we going to work it out? You're going to, the paintbrush and I are going to finish the work. He said, y'all can't pay me? I said, you're not working. Hey, Mr. Shakur.
Yes.
You know what he told me?
What?
He says, I'll be back at 4 o'clock for my money. And if you don't have my money, it's going to be trouble. I said, I tell you what, let's keep it simple. Let's make this conversation complicated. He said, what? Come back 4 o'clock. Don't be afraid. Come on. Come back 4 o'clock. So his mate ran out to him. He says, this is not the boss you play with. Come back 4 o'clock. Yeah, come back 4 o'clock. So he shows up. He says, hey, look, man, I'm sorry for it. I said, no, I'm cool. We ain't got no more work on this. Is the last job until I get some more work. He says, but my mama told me I need to come in with a paycheck. Your mama should have told you pull your pants up.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do, man.
You know what I mean? I can't have, Mr. Scott, I can't have people work around your house looking like, hey, man, who you going to come to? The worker, or you going to come to me that you hired?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
I sure do.
And I'm telling them, the last thing I'm going to do is lose money because you don't know proper decorum to carry yourself around people's houses. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's bad enough that, you know, as soon as you go somewhere, somebody sees you doing something, they're accusing you of something. You know, I said, that's bad enough. But you're going to walk around, you're the first person. I said, yeah, you done it. But the concept of decorum on a workplace nowadays, Mr. Do they teach that in school? They teach it at Bermuda College? Where would they get it from? Because if it's not handed down from the elders, if it's not handed down from inside your home as to what you should look like, talk like, and act like on a job site,
yes.
depending on the job that you're doing.
Yes.
So if I'm telling you to show up at somebody's house, and this is the way you're going to talk,
yes,
you're not going to embarrass me. I tell them straight up. Oh, no, mate. No, you ain't going to embarrass me.
Look. Let me say this, because y'all want to something that's very, very serious and important. I had a discussion about a week and a half ago on this very same point, and the person I was talking to, he didn't need much me confirming what I was saying. He said he experienced it as well, which is the amount of people that's wearing their pants down low are the same age as the fathers of these children.
That's very true.
And
that's what I said.
some of these children, that's right, some of these children are picking up these habits from the very environment that they're raised in. So we need, this is why I say I need to talk about this tonight, because we're not just witnessing change, we're witnessing a change of state of mind that's reflected in this era that we're in, that's not acceptable behavior if we say we need to have our standards on a higher level in order to be accepted and respected. People will not lower their standard in order to accommodate me and you on the job. It's not going to go like that.
That's right. And you could get upset. You could kick stones. You could come back with whatever you like. I have a job site to run.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But 80% of my job sites work with other people for other people.
Yes.
I can have you working in Turkestan. I can have you working in Middletown.
Yes.
My standard is the same as Turkestan as it is for Middletown. And it ain't no bending in between.
I appreciate that attitude too, man. I appreciate you saying it like that too.
You got what I'm saying?
I sure do, man.
Because you don't know nobody down in Turkestan, and because you know a whole lot of people up in Middletown, that still affects my bottom line.
Yes.
I don't care who you know.
And they both deserve good standard of work.
Exactly. But my point is this. You know, it's when you leave home, you know, get it in between your brain when you leave home that, one, you're working for somebody. Two, you're going to be working at someone's house. You know what I mean?
Yes.
About 20 to 25% of my work is with seniors. I can't have you carrying around seniors talking anyway, for one. You know what I mean? And I sure don't accept anybody cursing and carrying on, even in a regular conversation, because I understand that's how they talk today. Yeah, they may not be male, but every other word, they must well went French somewhere for school.
Yes, I hear you.
You know, I said, look, that's not proper language, man. He says, well, that's how we talk today. I said, wow. We are in that crying about foreigners coming to take the jobs now. You understand what I'm saying?
I do know, man. I'm watching it.
Okay.
I'm watching it daily, man. I'm watching it daily, and it's disturbing to me because, see, look, regardless of how this thing is going, I could never say it's acceptable. We need to speak to the issue and find out what's responsible for this dip and this dive away from acceptable behavior, man.
I agree with you, because right now we are our worst enemy.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do, man.
You did not hear the immigration minister said only 18 people got jobs, 500 plus work permits was given out. They're all not in IB, Mr. Shakur. You understand what I'm saying?
I sure do, man, and it's concerning to me, man.
I don't know what it's gonna take for us to wake up when you're giving out, when they have to give out 500 plus work permits to do what job that a Bermudian can do. One, you know what I mean, and two, why is it that Bermudians are not being hired? That's the kink in the cable I'm talking about.
Yes.
Is it by design? Is it on purpose? Or I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what our problem is, but it's going to be a problem, and this problem is going to manifest. Once upon a time, they used to say the pot is on the stove and it's going to slow boil. That's how I feel. This thing is going to pop. And this chain is going to break, and I want to see what they're going to do next.
Well, anything short of us being open and honest about the facts of these matters, we're not going to address the needs. Thank you very much for your contribution, man.
No problem. Have a good one.
You do likewise.
Sure.
Caller on Balance Matters.
Yes, good evening, Shakir.
Yes, good evening to you, too.
I want to share an experience that I had also involving observing a worker And it was actually with his the collar and his dress, his pants hanging off, and the foreman was a respectable person, and I approached the foreman and said, "Excuse me, pa, you allowing him to work like that?" He said, "Man, you can't talk to these guys and stuff." I said, "No, man, this is a reflection on you, man. I have a lot of respect for you." Hey, look, man, this guy here, they're all like that there. I says, "I'm observing what's taking place." Guess what the foreman done? The foreman says, "Look, put some cement in that wheelbarrow, and when you take it, push it up the plank there to the worker up there." The young man took the wheelbarrow, put the cement in it, and started walking up the plank. The plank's only 12 inches wide, you know.
Yes.
So as he started walking up the plank, his pants started coming down.
Oh.
So as he was walking, he couldn't walk with his legs apart. When he was like without the plank, he could keep his pants up.
Yeah.
But when he got halfway up with the plank there, pants were down to the ankle, and there's nothing he couldn't lay the wheelbarrow down, couldn't do anything.
Wow, look at that. Wow.
And I just observed, I says, "Oh, my dear, he couldn't even see that before he started."
Man.
Come on, man. 1 and 1 is elementary.
Yes, man.
And he did not have the elementary rudiments to figure out that he's going to get up the plank and not be able to go forward or backward. And I asked a question. When you have a watch and it's not working, what's it called? Broken.
Yes.
When a man is not working, he is broken.
Yes.
When you put him in a facility and he does not work, he becomes broken. And you let him out of a facility where he hasn't been working, he's still a broken person.
Yes.
He's not going to make a contribution. He's going to actually add to the problems on the outside.
Yes.
And I look at grass grow, and we can't even allow someone to cut the grass. What I do appreciate when I look at the roads now, they're getting individuals instead of whole work crew that used to do work. And because grass is growing so fast now, so they're saying that you can't get 5 people to work on the side road. You get one person that's doing a certain length of road and stuff. And guess what? The roads are looking good, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate those guys. I actually stop to the individuals, and I will give them something, whether it's a piece of fruit or piece of watermelon.
Yeah.
Some type of encouragement. Every morning, every day, I will encourage them. I will give a truth. I'll wave to them. I speak. I get to know the name, and when I go across, they call out to me. They know the horn. They know it. It's so encouraging to see them light up and stuff.
Yes.
But we have a serious problem because when it comes, I'm going to go on to, like they say, about renting facilities to individuals. A lot of locals and a lot of foreigners have some bad habits.
Yes.
But the problem is, a lot of us locals now are under such a crunch for money that we're renting to the foreigners because we can rent a room and another room and another room.
Yeah.
And making money like that there. But when you rent to a local, the locals are breeding, and they're breeding a lot of bad habits. And the experience is not healthy. I know what I'm talking about, man, because I have to try to get assistance to try to get a local to even do some work on my property and stuff. It's hard to find a good person to do a good job.
Yes.
And as you get older, you're not able to do like you used to do, so you have to outsource.
Yes.
And it's very difficult, man.
Yes.
And the ones that you're finally getting results from are not born here. They're imported. So the foreigner that's in Bermuda now were born here. They're sitting around doing nothing. That's the foreigner.
I see what you're
becomes
saying.
a foreigner.
I see what you're saying.
Looking at everybody else calling them a foreigner. You are foreign, man. I got sons that grew up and stuff, and they don't come on asking me for money and this and all that. You're strong enough and you're old enough to go out there and get something. If you're not working, man, I shouldn't be feeding you. And this is a common thing, and it's not being addressed. And when you have people in position that talk that we have a housing problem, how are you going to have a housing problem? You're going to build expensive houses, and that people that cannot afford it. So you say, well, we'll put them in a container. What? Listen to what you're saying. We put them in a container. That's insulting, bro. I don't know how you dress that container up. That is insulting. And you think we're good in a good direction? We're lost our way, bro. We're lost our way. And I'm just saying, Bermuda, I saw it coming, and you don't hear, you're going to feel. I was taught that if I can help somebody as I journey along, my living's not in vain. Well, guess what? You wake up and don't know what you're going to do that morning. You're not even helping yourself. Your living is in vain. That's the problem, man. No go to, no come from. And you think somebody's going to give you a job? Somebody's going to give you somewhere to live? Someone's going to give you some of the hard-earned money and stuff? No, it don't work that way, son. It don't work that way. My children are going 40.
Yes.
And you're older than them. Come on, man. It's really, really sad, bro.
Yeah,
it's sad.
It's concerning, man. It's look.
It is.
But I how often can we reflect on our parents that had very little formal education, but you could see by how they managed themselves that caused the family to improve in every capacity to the point where they ended up giving opportunities to their children that they hardly ever thought they would have, because they made sacrifices to find the requirements to accommodate the needs of the family. And those needs were all types of needs, man, from financial to educational to from a job point of view, business. Those parents, I remember this woman, she said, Crumble, I had 3 jobs one time where I wasn't even going home between jobs. I was leaving one job, going to the next job, to the next job. She said I didn't have no time to drive home first. I had to leave one job, go to the next job, to the next job. 3 jobs she was working. And she was a single parent, raising her children, man. And I tell you, man, this woman, I glory her spirit. She's one of the best people I know, man. When it comes around to the attitude that I hear when she tells me these stories, man. And I say, you know, her story reflects other people who were in the same situation. I know, because I saw it myself, man. I wasn't blind as a young guy. I saw what was going on around me. And I said, man, we could never, that's why when I wrote this note here, we come from a people wanting strength and production.
Yes.
We come from a people that needed strength, and in order to produce, they had to go out there and do the work.
Yeah.
They needed to identify what it was required for them to achieve what they wanted to achieve, and they made sacrifices, man, to do it. So they were highly motivated to have their family to succeed. That was the motivation for people like that to do strenuous stuff like that.
Yeah, but when we were younger, when I grew up, my mother and them went to school, and they had one pair of shoes, bro. And those shoes got cleaned, okay? One day, my grandfather saw my mother. She was going to school or church or somewhere, and he asked her, "Where are you going with your dress on the wrong way like that?" And she said to him, my grandfather, "I fell down." So She took the dress off and turned it inside out.
Oh.
But still was going on her way.
Yes.
With her shoes and everything. On that one pair of shoes. And what my mother taught me growing up with the rest of my brothers and sisters, your clothes had to be clean and prepared the night before you go to school. The next day, your teeth had to be brushed, your hair had to be brushed, you had to have your breakfast, you got to get your color of oil and a little bit of orange to flush it down and stuff, and get some Vaseline on your elbows. You didn't go to school looking like a regular muffin.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I have a distaste for women that walk around in these pants that look like some pit bull wrapped all them on the clothesline, and then they put them on, call it fashion. Come on, man. I saw a young lady who was having a hard time. We call her a street person. She was looking at this woman walking down the road and had saw her pants like that there, and looked at herself and looked at the pants and stuff, and she just started laughing and shaking her head. And I could see exactly what it appears that she was thinking. I'm supposed to be the homeless one. And look at them. And they're calling it fashion.
Yeah.
Well, lost our way, bro. Lost our way.
Yeah.
It's not just the men. The children, we have dropped the ball. And the chickens have come home to roost.
Look, I've been married, God bless, 54 years a couple days ago, right? Last week, Tuesday, was my 54th anniversary. And I reflected on something. I laugh at it. I don't tell this story too often, but you made this point about fashion. Before I was married, before I met my lovely wife, I was looking for a wife, and I couldn't say she was my girlfriend. I was getting to know this person, going out with them, just getting to know them. And we were supposed to go out to this cricket game. It was a national holiday, and it was one of those games where on the holiday everybody went to this particular type of cricket game. It wasn't a cup match. It was one of these games that Tommy Haver used to put on up at Southampton Rangers with the with the cricketers, and he was one of the
neighborhood games.
That's right. And anyhow, the person was supposed to come to my house, and I was supposed to leave from my house and go up to the game. When the person walked in my house, I looked at how they were dressed. I said, "Where you going looking like that?" She says, "I'm going with you to the game." I said, "Not like that, not with me." She said, "You serious?" I said, "I'm damn serious. I wouldn't be going out with a woman looking like that, dear." She had a pair of pencil on that was crocheted.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, crochet pen. Now you imagine.
Yeah, that's right. Imaginary pens.
Imagine. Crocheted pens, right? I said, "No way, my dear." And she thought I was joking. I looked at her. I said, I'm damn serious.
Yeah.
And she came from down the country, right? I'm in Flows Hill in Pembroke, and she came from down the country. I told her, "I'll take you home, change your clothes, and go up to the game, but you're not going like that with me." And she looked at me and couldn't believe. And she thought she was the King's Englishman, looking like she thought, revealing whatever she thought she was revealing. I said, "Not with me." So that was a moment that I said, I didn't have a dream that I would have to do that, but hey, I have my dignity, and I have my standards, and we smiled at it at the end of the day. But I'm pretty certain that was a first for her, and I'm hoping that it done something for her to reflect on her own value. And her and I today are still respectable friends today, But the bottom line is that I needed to do my part as standing up for my principles, and that was that.
Yes.
So today, thank God, I have enough going where I survived 54 without having to change up.
But things have definitely changed, because the way our young people view things,
Yes.
they need to be set on and said, let me explain this here to you. You can't continue that way. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You have a responsibility, and things aren't just given to you and stuff like that. You are responsible to do this and do that.
Yes.
Things cannot just be dropped and handed to you like it's just free.
Yes.
Like it's not free.
Yes. Yes.
You have a responsibility. You're not entitled to just come in and
Yes.
have this and have that. No, it don't work that way.
Yes. Well, I have to
Don't
say this.
work that way.
I have to say this before you go, my good buddy. Is that
Okay.
we have a duty to set the standard by example.
Yes.
The individual has a duty. It's an obligation, man, for those who know better to set the standard for the next people behind us to inherit so they could promote what is best for today and for the future, man. Unless we establish that as a responsibility that we have to shoulder. We have to shoulder that responsibility, not just talk about it, but got to demonstrate it, man. Failure to do so, or what we're talking about like tonight, is only going to get worse.
Yep. And
Right.
one thing you said in the monologue was
Yes.
that people will come along and compliment you
Yes,
for what you've
yes,
done.
yes.
When your child comes to you and says, Daddy, I want to be like you when I grow up. When your niece or nephew says, Uncle so-and-so, I appreciate you. I love you, man. I like the way how you do this and that.
Yes.
That lets you know you're setting examples.
Yes.
And the Creator says for us that He created this world, and then when He finished creating us, mankind,
Yes.
He stopped and looked and said, this is good.
Yes.
This is very good.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what He said about us. And that's what's in every one of us.
Yes.
We need to find that.
Yes.
Fulfill our duty here
Yes.
on earth. Man.
And
I want to say,
I would say this, sir, that I'm certain that when we get the strength, and I say strength because for us to be courageous, we have to have strength first. To have the courage to come out and speak about this stuff, because this is a talk show. It's not for me to bring a story. It's for us to talk about these things. And when we can confirm what is unacceptable, and at the same time be willing to make suggestion for improvement.
yeah,
That and only then are we going to correct things. Unless we be honest about this stuff, man, we're not going to correct these things, man.
yep,
And we've got to have the courage, we've got to gain the courage to speak to this stuff in a responsible way, not to criticize or degrade, but to be open about what is best going forward. If we don't correct this stuff, our future is going to be worse.
yeah.
I thank you very much for your contribution, my dear brother.
Thank you, man, and keep up the good work, man.
I thank you for people like you and your support and your contributions.
Yes, you're welcome, bro.
Have the rest of a great evening, man.
Thank you. Same to you.
The number is 297-1027. We're talking Balance Matters.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. And I'm listening up, Mr. Cromwell. You know, with you and the listening orders I've said so far is by design. And I'm going to put it this way. Black History is, you consider Black History going once February is gone? So now, it all of a sudden comes around that you are talking about the black community, young black men out there, and black women. You're not talking about no Portuguese, no Filipinos or anything. It's by design that you know, because what I will put it, you haven't done your responsibility for the future of this country. And we see it in our children. you older adults out there, and you think about your past, you never took time out to look at the children's past. You let the children die. And it's by design that the system that we created, this is the results. And it's a saying that wisdom is learned by our children. Meaning that the results of what's happening with our children today is laid on the parents. So you and the rest of the elders out there never took time for the future, lay down some foundation so that these children will not even, wouldn't even be talking about this. It's by design that this is happening, and guess what? I'm not part of these guys hurting the Pakistan. I'm not part of it. I am aware that this system has allowed this to go, and it's laid on the foundation of our past parents. So you elders out there, while you're crying down the children, they don't even care, because you let them down and they're under-earned. They're out there by themselves and by the science. So now, the only solution is to take away what has caused this design. And I'm a person that knows design, means that we shouldn't even be talking about this. We should be going about doing something. And the children are waiting for these young guys out there, waiting for us to change the system so that they now can come within the society and be somebody. And you're talking about the guys that are with the working to work, they just want to make some money. No, you're denying them the money because of the work or the way they dress. So now it gives a detrimental to how they go about getting a job. They just want to make some money. So now the full parents of our children today, you are to blame due to the design. The system been designed like that, and you could talk about it and not take the blame. Well, guess what? God is watching, and you haven't taken the blame. It's not being sorry. It's about changing a system that's already fragmented the black society, and your children are waiting to be healed, and you can't heal them. Well, guess what? It's a simple way of doing things. It's a way that the children now can see they have a future by you doing something about it. If you can't do nothing about it, what you expect your children to do? So and it's a simple way of doing it. It's actually simple. You full parent, you older people out there, you allow this racist system to exist, and it's like your children just accept it, just like you have accepted from 1959. It was a lady that said, oh, you got to be careful. Let these, you took a boycott, but don't let the white, because the person on the job, I can't let this person, that white person that I'm working for, let them know that I'm part of this boycott. Those simple things that not you deny yourself. And no, the result of your children are, you were supposed to take this country to get rid of racist system. And now I talked about getting rid of a racist speed limit, and you can't do nothing about it. So what do you expect your children to do? Go up and down the road, killing themselves, dressing untidy, not able to going out there selling their jobs, and they're making more money than you older people out there. So they feel comfortable with their lifestyle because you didn't do your job or your responsibility back in the day since 59. You're supposed to take that and get rid of all the racist policies and laws that existed so your children can at least have a future. Now, you have to be to blame. You elders out there, and I'm only part of it. I didn't even have no children. But guess what? There's children that are out there on the streets, they love me better than their parents. because I treat them like a human being.
Okay, well, you've caused the lights to flash, so I thank you for your contribution. We're going to go to the next caller, okay?
You hold the people to blame for.
Calling on Balance Matters.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, my dear brother.
I thought I'd come to your rescue. I'm teasing about that. Because I'm going to tell you, one of the things I can say that the caller prompted with me was to acknowledge the fact that we do need to deal with the causation aspect of some of this.
Yes.
Because we've been hearing about this for quite a while, you know. And I personally feel that because a system's in place that has not really uplifted many of the people that are disenfranchised to, as an example, have a livable wage as opposed to a minimum wage. We see these problems escalate because the reality is the middle class family, or certainly the family that's able to come together and support their children in a constructive manner, which involves, whether we like to admit it or not, money. And I'm not saying it's all money, but I'm saying you obviously have to be financially stable.
Yes.
In order to move on with certain things that involve progress with your children.
Yes.
Whether it's education, whether it's you having the ability to spend more time with your children, not having to work 3 jobs, and the child is getting away with running wild, and learning these behaviors we're talking about.
Yes.
Or certainly not being guided, especially in terms of single homes where the father is absent. Although that's another discussion in itself.
Yes.
But my point is causation. We need to look at how better we as a people and the government can implement things that allow people that are disenfranchised to do better. Because it's not going to happen on their own recognizance if they are always kept back by systematic disadvantages that involve systemic problems that keep them from being able to fully be involved in the PTA of a school because they're working so hard.
Yes.
Or the father's delinquent because the situation was never a good situation from the beginning because the child was born out of wedlock or whatever because of the historic problems that their family faced over time.
Yes.
And now they're having children and we're getting a repeat situation, so to speak. But of course, because the world is advancing and becoming more sophisticated and more problematic, then that child situation is going to even worsen compared to what the parents and the grandparents faced in their struggles. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I'm saying all of that to say this, that we basically need to look at how can we deal with the causation and cause and help in terms of better ideas to help the poorer family and involve them more in the upbringing of the child. And let alone the parents that just ain't that are totally disinterested and shouldn't have had children to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking about those that are trying.
Yes.
because the system has failed them.
Yes.
You know, and one of the areas I often feel would have made a difference, but it's not going to be the total solution because, you know, it's only a part of it, is that, you know, and we all say the same thing, the travesty of not having the trades in the schools, you know, not having hotel technology and other areas where the child is being groomed to be into the workforce right out of high school. And what that does is teach the child from a young age, from 12 years old onward, the responsible side of working and create a work ethic so that the problems we're talking about with them with their pants down and not wanting to work hard on the job and being a problem doesn't exist. So you know, this is why I'm so disappointed right now with the education situation, with, you know, what's going on there. Because, you know, I was looking forward to seeing, you know, this new system play out.
Yes.
Especially introducing these kids to construction sciences and things of that nature that will, you know, help them develop a work ethic, especially if they're going to go into landscaping or whatever.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
You know, one of the things happens with some of the teenagers I've worked on with and observed is they don't have no skill. You know, something as simple as taking a nail and a hammer and nailing the nail into the wood, lumber. And I look at them, it's like, you never learned it? Like you never even tried it on your own? You know?
Yes.
But something as basic as that,
Yes.
they're not that great at. Or you know, you do see the natural talent, like a guy that could fix an engine naturally. So my point is, it's there, but because it hasn't been, they haven't been groomed along the way.
Yes.
It leads to being a problem later on in their lives when they're going to go into the workforce. But again, that's just a part of it.
Yes.
The problem is the discouragement of the family or the breakdown of the family structure long before all of that happens in terms of the school system being organized in a manner where the child is going to have more of a hand up.
Yes.
I mean, it's more involved before that, because if the child never gets to school or he has problems along the way, then he ain't going to focus on learning their trades even in the school.
That's right.
You know, because of the family situation. So it's something that the powers that be are attempting to deal with, but I think it's going to take all of us out here to do what we can, man.
Mike, you making that point, I'm referring to experience that I had whilst working within the system when my children were in school. I ended up talking to a couple principals, and they were giving me some horror stories, man, when it came around to when they saw the habits of the child after the child got to school. They were forced to have to go to the home to find out what could be responsible for the habits that they were identifying. And it was no doubt that this child was suffering from the environment that they were in. The child couldn't do better in school because of what conditioning they were having in a strained environment. Their household was ill prepared to prepare that child to learn well in school. So the principal was saying these are the new problems that the school have, man. Years ago, you didn't have to go that far to have to make sure that this child was mentally stiff, strong to take what the classroom is about to give him. Because that child didn't come with those problems that the child has today. Because the family structure has fallen in such disrepair. I've heard so many different ways it's being described. It's hurtful to know how far families have fallen from being responsible for preparing that child to learn. And we would be shocked to know the standards of families that these children are coming out of. And unless we're prepared to speak to that part, I mean, I remember one time I was asked to speak to this classroom. And when I went to the school, I couldn't believe how noisy the classroom was, man. I couldn't believe it. Anyhow, first time I had been to the school, and this particular teacher that invited me, I needed to observe them more before I could make any direct contribution of my own to try to address the problem. So anyhow, it got to a point where, okay, by the time I was being introduced, the noise level had not declined. So as soon as I got to the podium, I recognized the voices and the people that were contributing to the noise problem. I singled them out and said, listen, if you want to continue being like you are, you could do it outside, and I will not disturb you, but you won't be disturbing me. So make a choice, either simmer down or go outside until I'm finished addressing the classroom. They all looked at me in shock, man. I said, yeah, I'm serious. Before I start talking, I pointed to all the people that I thought was contributing to the noise level and told them, I'm not going to tell you to stop talking because obviously your teacher you didn't respond to your teacher's request when she was dealing with you. So I'm not expecting you to accept my request. I'm saying to you, I'm not going to tolerate, and you're going to go outside until I'm finished doing my presentation. Well, by the time I finished speaking to the classroom, they enjoyed the presentation so much, they stayed through the entire recess period. They didn't even go out for recess. And when I finished talking, this teacher, we went in the corner to talk. She says, Cromwell, I'm telling you, man, I haven't seen that type of response from these students in a long time, based on what was the response that they gave you. I didn't want to hurt the teacher's feelings in telling her what I felt about what she didn't do. But I just observed how difficult it was for her to do what she was doing. Now, I was not there long enough to understand why this teacher was reacting like she was. But I was definitely surprised to know how little control she had of our classroom. And by the time I hear teachers talking about what it is that they can't do no more and what it is that they try to do that's not working because certain policies said they can't do this and they can't do that no more, I said, man, this whole system is under strain, man. But I'm not going to be invited to be disrespected, and I'm not the one to be there all day. So they got a part of me for 45 minutes, and they were brought to attention because they were shocked to know what I was prepared to do to get my business done. So I say that to say, hey, mate, I didn't see that in every classroom I went into, but I did get to see the reality of what's changing.
Yeah, I again, the gentleman before me.
Yes.
Reading through the lines, because I don't always fully understand.
Yeah, you got 30 minutes.
Coming from.
I mean, you got 30 seconds, bro.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't always understand where it's coming from, but he touched on the fact that the adults are some of the problems.
Yes.
And that's a reality. I mean,
yes.
the adults need to recognize that their actions
yes.
are also causing some of these problems with the kids as well.
Yes.
And that's the reality.
We have a set of complex issues, and we have to be strategic in looking at, like you said, and I appreciate the causal effects.
Yeah, causation. Yeah.
The causation issues, that's right. I definitely concur with that, Mike, and I appreciate your contribution.
Hey, no problem, my man.
Until next week.
Looks like I'm maintaining my record of being the last caller. I don't know how that came. I really thought I was calling early.
Hey, man, you're having a good time. Time goes fast. See, you didn't realize how much time you was on.
I was enjoying what I was listening to.
Okay, my dear brother. Thank you very much for contributing, Mike, and have the rest of a great evening.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much, dear listening audience, for tuning in to Balance Matters. Tune in next week. Have the rest of a great evening.
You've been listening to Balance Matters, heard Tuesday evenings at 7:30 p.m. here on Magic 102.7 FM.